Hello guys, this is Howling Westy here from the Sea Caps, and this is part 2 of mine and ThunderCargo's collaboration. Say hello.
Hey,
Hey, this is the man.
the
So,
man.
yeah, if you haven't seen part 1, please stop watching this video right now. That you're probably not going to hear that many times from us. Stop watching this video right now, go check out part 1, there will be an annotation on the screen or a link at the top of the description. This is our second take of doing this because Frapp's derped out.
Yeah.
So,
We don't mind. We go to the far edge for you guys.
exactly. So, ThunderCargo, where did we leave this off in part 1?
So in part one, I believe we left off talking about the residents of this nuclear apocalyptic world that Steve's trapped in.
Yes, and don't you find it very strange actually that all the people in this apocalyptic world, all the villagers, all look the same?
Mm.
I think it's quite strange. But speaking of that, everything in this world looks the same. They all have the exact same look, and the Endermen are unknown to him, and everything's so strange that perhaps he wasn't imprisoned by the aliens at all. And here's what I think actually happened. So Steve lived on his planet, right, which is Minecrafty, a just normal world,
A normal world.
and him and his people who lived in a small village went underground because aliens attacked this world with a zombie virus, started killing people, started doing all these horrible things, and then eventually ended it off with a nuclear blast, which made it so that they couldn't go to the surface. So what I think is Steve is actually in this bunker underground somewhere, and he's in a psychiatric ward sort of thing, and his mind is telling him that he's back out in the real world.
Yeah.
But really he's not. It's trying to calm him almost by telling him everything's okay, but then he remembers all these horrible things, and that's why all the monsters appear at night, because it also represents the light being the good and the dark being the bad. As when it becomes night in the dream world, everything seems to go wrong for him, but at the daytime things seem to be okay.
Yeah.
But another thing that lends itself towards this, which is something me and you talked about earlier, is the fact that he always ends up back at his bed whenever he
Yes.
dies. But I know you wanted to talk about the void.
Yeah.
So
How the void is. Steve knows in the back of his mind that he's underground and he's in this bunker vault-like place.
yep, he knows he's
in the
down there.
psychiatric treatment. Which we'll touch on the psychiatric treatment in a bit and his doctor. And as he drops into the void, he dies, but wakes up at his bed. But he doesn't die because it shows that it's a limitation. He doesn't want to go back to the real world.
Yeah, I agree. The bedrock shows like a barrier saying, no, you can't break this, stop trying to break this, you can't go down here. And then if he, on command, which again, if it were all in his mind, his messed up mind that these aliens caused him to have, then these commands could show that he has some sort of control over this dream world, and if he commands that he wants to be able to break this block by going into creative mode, having control, then the mind that his mind uses the void as another barrier, saying no, there's nothing here, trying to block out anything of this bunker, and it puts him straight back at his bedside.
Yeah.
And it's like we said earlier, it could represent the darkness of sleep, the void of sleep, and how it consumes you as well.
Yeah. So do you wanna now touch on his psychiatric treatment?
Yes. I think we should.
Yeah. As you previously mentioned, the testificates, these big nose, huge forehead, arms stuck together guys, they all look the same.
Yep.
Apart from clothing.
Apart from
Because
clothing, indeed.
The villagers in Minecraft, like, portray salvation almost.
They do. They portray a hope that there is still civilization in this world. And as I said in take 1 of this, before everything derped, the Notch originally planned to have the in-game villagers be pigmen. And while that didn't happen, we did still have the zombie pigmen in the Nether. And seeing as the pigmen were originally meant to be the villagers, I feel when he goes into this nightmare world, it's the old people who were the pigmen. In a way, they were all the old people in his life, but he remembers them when he goes into this nightmare, and they're so disfigured and terrible because of all the terrible things that happened in the old world. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I catch on.
Yeah. But also the pigmen, like I said, they're all the old people in his life. Perhaps they're not even pigs. Pigmen. We are said to be very close to pigs as a species. Maybe his mind says these are pigmen to sort of ease it and say, no, they're not the people I used to know in my life. And it's like when you attack the pigmen, they all turn on you. What do you think that could represent?
Same with basic human instinct. Your friend has just been... Your friend's just been hurt by some other person, and you want to defend your friend.
Yep.
So, it's human characteristics.
I agree, but also the pigmen, they all make loud squeals, but it's almost like he wants to kill them. In a way, it's almost like he wants to end the pigmen as he gets gold nuggets out of it, but also swords and other things, which is something we didn't touch on in earlier, but we actually talked about it before we planned to make the video. You said Steve could actually be a psycho who isn't afraid to kill people.
Yeah, that's why he has such an easy time killing the zombies, killing the skeletons,
Killing the villagers.
Innocent animals that he may find in the wild. Not as survival instinct, but as he just shows no emotion as he does it.
Just to show that he is a killer.
Yeah.
Which is kind of strange that it puts him back into like a dream. Why would his mind be twisted like this if he is a killer? Do you think it wouldn't just go through him? And I think perhaps no, maybe this dream world actually represents a guilt of all the horrible things he's done in his old life, like the skeletons or the pigmen could represent all the old people that he's killed before in the old world. And the Enderman could represent the fear that, like, the aliens as well, but also that the police could get him and he'll be found out, and they could come from anywhere and take his things, like the blocks. So they could represent two things in his mind: the aliens, but also the fear that he could be taken at any time for what he's done.
I see your point.
I want to touch on iron golems. Iron golems physically look like the villagers, like the doctor, we'll call him. So do you think that... And we're back, guys. So last time we were talking about iron golems before we had technical problems.
Yeah.
So what do you think the iron golems could represent? What's funny?
Protection, because that's what they do.
Protection. Yeah.
Protection.
But they all look like the doctor as well. All these people look like his doctor. So could that perhaps show that he sees his doctor as salvation and protection for himself, even though he doesn't want to think about the bunker and how maybe the guilt of before is telling him he doesn't belong there. But maybe the doctor is sort of reassurance, saying that is where he should be. Do you think that could make sense?
It very much does.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So is that everything we touched on?
Yep.
I think so. The zombies represent the fear of himself and the zombies before, but himself particularly. Also, actually, something we brought up before, you can change your skin in the game.
Yeah.
Maybe Steve in his mind doesn't actually want to be Steve. Maybe he sees himself as a female named Alex, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or maybe Alex was actually someone Steve knew in his old life, and he's sort of trying to carry on her life in his mind by being her.
Completely agree.
Something like that could make sense. So, basically, like, we touched on it before actually, the end being this dream for Steve, and the never being a nightmare, and this world could be some sort of in-between dream where at one time it's terrible at night time, but another time it's okay at the daytime. And he's constantly getting stronger and stronger in this world, but he's always got a bed to skip through the horrible things, and maybe the bed represents his treatment in a way. Maybe it represents safety. Whenever anything bad happens and he ends up having to respawn, he always ends up back at the bed.
Yeah.
Back at home. And this whole thing could represent him missing his old home. So whether he's trapped by the aliens or not, this whole thing is him missing his home, and wherever the bed is, in Steve's mind, is home. But anyway, I think that is everything.
Yep.
So, thank you guys for watching this video. Please comment below what you think. Do you think he's held prisoner by the aliens? Do you think the aliens just destroyed everything? Do you think maybe the aliens aren't there at all and this whole thing is just happening in Steve's mind somewhere? in a bunker, maybe. Maybe the zombie apocalypse was caused by something else. Who knows? But one thing's for sure, me and ThunderCargo definitely overthinked this a lot.
Yeah.
So please comment below what you think. All these theories we've given for you in part 1 and 2. And maybe you could help us come up with a definitive story for Minecraft. Oh, forgot to mention the credits.
Yeah.
The credits also mention the dream of the game. And I think it's actually quite funny how we're talking about the credits at the end of the video. But people interpreted the people interpreted the credits as telling people to go outside and stop playing games so much. But perhaps the credits actually represent Steve's mind. Like you said earlier, when he beats the end, it's him being free. Maybe it's his mind telling him it is okay to wake up. And there's two voices, the voices in his head, that are telling him these things.
Yeah.
I think that would work. But let us know what you think below. And definitely leave a like. Go check out ThunderCargo's video if you haven't already.
Make sure you've seen part 1.
Yeah, you're a bit of a madhead if you haven't. But if you haven't up to this point, go watch it. And yeah, thank you for watching, guys. I've been Hurling Westy.
And I've been ThunderCargo.
And I'm sure ThunderCargo approves this video.
I approve!